I am a professor, a polymath, a scholar, and consultant. Being both a part time university professor and a consultant can be an unusually strong professional combination because each role supplies something the other naturally lacks. But academia gives me a space to develop ideas, teach frameworks, and maintain intellectual credibility. Consulting keeps me close to real organizations, current problems, and measurable outcomes. Let me detail the differences and the combined advantages. As a professor, I teach theories and frameworks. As a consultant, I apply them to actual organizations. So the combined advantage here is I can teach what works in practice. As a professor, I read and engage in research, working with doctorate students mostly, but I also teach master's classes and undergraduate classes, and on rare occasions, community college classes. So that allows me then to say, as a consultant, I can encounter emerging problems firsthand. And when I combine those two, then the practice generates questions worth researching, right? So they feed on each other. And I enjoy, as a professor, developing student, and as a consultant, developing leaders. Um, of course, as a professor, I'm building academic credibility all along. As a consultant, I'm building industry credibility. So that authority crosses both communities. As a professor, I explain complicated concepts. As a consultant, I diagnose complicated problems. And I get, by combining them, the better ability to turn complexity into action. Now, one very exciting aspect of being a professor is I get to interact with emerging talent. And as a consultant, of course, I interact with experienced executives, thereby providing a broader professional network. So, consulting engagements expose me to real problems. I can abstract the experience while protecting the client's confidentiality into a case, a framework, an exercise, or a research question. Teaching forced me to explain the idea clearly and exposes weaknesses in my reasoning because students ask questions I may not have considered. I then return to consulting with a more refined framework. And there's another loop going in the opposite direction: research, teaching, application, evidence. I might encounter an interesting concept through scholarship, teach it, determine how practitioners might apply it, and then observe where reality agrees or disagrees with the theory. I trust it makes me a better professor and a more thoughtful consultant. So the professional benefits compound. It's one of the reasons why I chose both of these professions. The combination can also create a distinctive market position. Instead of presenting myself as simply a consultant who also teaches, I can become someone who translates rigorous thinking into practical organizational results. For consulting clients, being a professor can signal intellectual depth, independence, and an ability to educate rather than merely recommend. I am particularly well positioned to facilitate executive workshops, leadership development, strategy sessions, organizational change, or other engagements where the client needs to understand why something works rather than simply receiving a deliverable. For the university, meanwhile, active consulting means I'm not teaching exclusively from textbooks or experiences. From way back too. Sometimes I can bring contemporary organizational challenges, decision-making situations, and practitioner perspectives to the classroom. So this portfolio career that I've carved for myself provides variety and optionality. Universities provide an intellectual community, students, institutional affiliation, and opportunities to teach and potentially polish. Consultant provides greater commercial upside, autonomy, and exposure to different organizations and different industries. And neither career is subordinate to the other. Over time, they form like a three-part professional platform. Professor teaches, develops and teaches ideas. A consultant applies and tests those ideas. And I occasionally am an author, speaker, and a thought leader to disseminate those ideas. So that third dimension is where the combination can be particularly powerful. Repeated consulting experiences can reveal patterns. Academic work helps me organize those patterns into frameworks. Teaching helps me make those frameworks understandable. Eventually, those frameworks can become articles, cases, executive educational programs, conference talks, books, diagnostic tools, or proprietary consultant methodologies. A useful way to think about my double identity is the classroom is a laboratory for my ideas. Consulting is a laboratory for potential application, and each makes the other more credible. So, if you are a dean of a college or a university, please consider me as an adjunct faculty member. If you're a business owner, C suite executive, project manager, please consider me as a part time staff or part time member of your team.